Thank you for viewing the workshop Dealing with Difficult Students, brought to you by Bowling Green State University's Center for Teaching and Learning. The objectives of this workshop will be to identify some strategies to prevent inappropriate behavior in the classroom before it starts, and also to identify strategies that you can use to respond to inappropriate or disruptive behavior as it does occur. There are two important things to keep in mind with classroom management issues. Firstly, when you are faced with disruptive behavior in the classroom, you need to do something. The longer that disruptive behavior remains unaddressed, the more acceptable it becomes and is more difficult to put a stop to it. Secondly, preventing problems is always much easier than having to react to them later. One of the most important ways that you can prevent problems in the classroom is to create a constructive classroom environment. It's very helpful to define your expectations of behavior in your course syllabus and to go over these during the first class meeting. Decrease anonymity in your classroom. Make a serious effort to learn your students' names, even in the case of a large lecture class. Seek feedback from your students. Informal assessments and feedback allow you to find out what is working in the classroom and where students are having difficulty, as these difficulties can lead to frustrations that can lead to acting out. It is also helpful to make use of active learning strategies. Student-centered discussions, cooperative learning groups, and other strategies help build positive relationships among the students and encourage them to take greater responsibility for their own learning. It is difficult, however, to prevent all forms of disruptive behavior in the classroom. So now we will discuss some ways that we can respond to common disruptive behaviors. Talking, texting, and inattentiveness during class are all very common disruptive behaviors. Calling out students in front of the class isn't always helpful, as it can lead to embarrassment and resentment. Use your eye contact, stop the lecture, or use your proximity and move nearer to the student, and generally they will cease their disruptive behavior. Speak to students in private about issues, and refer to your policies laid out in the course syllabus. Other common disruptive behaviors include students arriving to class unprepared or missing deadlines on assignments. You should reinforce to your students the consequences of not completing their course readings or their homework assignments and what effect this would have on their grades. You can use short writing assignments in every class, such as chapter summaries or short quizzes that provide evidence of preparation. Stick to your late work policy. If you say that you will not accept late work after a certain date, do not do so. But if you expect students to respect the deadlines that you have set out, you should respect your own deadlines. If you tell students to turn in their paper by a certain date and that you will have their papers graded and back to them by another date, be good on your word and be sure that they get their graded papers back on time. That shows mutual respect. Other common disruptive behaviors include unpunctuality and absence. It can help to make a deal with the class. When class starts on time, class will end on time. That gives an incentive for students to arrive in a timely fashion. If you have an attendance policy, it is important to stick to it. If you do not allow students to enter the classroom 15 minutes after class is started, stand by that statement. If a student's absences have accumulated and are in danger of jeopardizing their academics, it is important to first contact the student to make sure there is no problem. If necessary, contact others, such as the student's advisor or the office of the dean of students. One of the more serious forms of disruptive behavior are challenges to the instructor's authority. If such happens, do not become defensive or take these challenges personally. Reply honestly and calmly. Explain your policies. Don't defend. Avoid having these types of arguments in class. Listen to the student complaints calmly and in private, either before, after class, or during office hours. If you have found that you have made a mistake, admitting your mistake is always better than trying to save face. But if a student is hostile or threatening, dismiss class and call campus police. Threats of violence should always be taken seriously, and campus police should be notified as soon as possible. More information on dealing with difficult students can be found through the Office of the Dean of Students or through the website of the Center for Teaching and Learning, where you can also see dates and times when the full workshop, Dealing with Difficult Students, is offered. Thank you very much for your attention and have a good day.